It's finally happening. This chapter is almost more than 20 years in making, and it almost feels like Oda is brewing up a stew in a cauldron by mixing in various different elements, by mixing in various different herbs and spices that he has introduced into the story all along the way. There are small nudges to various different instances, various different even sound effects, because I'm going to talk about something very interesting later on down the video, but this is so many stuff which are just culminating together into one singular entity or one singular plot point. And for the last couple of chapters, definitely everyone predicted that Luffy's awakening is finally coming, but to see it actually happen right in front of our eyes, along with the exposition given by none other than Zunisha himself, this is just frankly incredible. And basically the internet is currently divided at this moment. I mean, let's be real about it. Anything happens, the internet, Twitter, social media is just going to be divided no matter what. People are saying, I mean, at least a faction of people are saying that, hey, this is just turning Luffy into Naruto 2.0, which is really bad. What the hell is Oda even doing? But I digress. I don't necessarily think that this is the exact same thing. I'm probably going to make a totally separate video talking about the philosophy that Luffy is actually going on here and why it's not really a retcon. This is something which Oda had planned right from the very first chapter, in fact. So stay tuned for that, definitely stay tuned for that. But for now, in this particular video, I do not want to enter into that particular debate because let's be real about it, I'm just too tired of all this nuisance that people are just spreading around online. So for now, in this particular video, I just want to focus upon this key element from this chapter, that is Luffy's awakening form, because it's finally here. And I'm just so happy, and at the same time I have so many different questions. What kind of a form is Luffy's awakening actually going to take? I mean, we are only getting a very short glimpse of his actual awakening with the straw hat melting and his face melting. I mean, pretty much the assumption has been that since Luffy's devil fruit is based out of rubber, the next step is going to be a version of vulcanization. And there are various different theories to support it, specifically in regards to what the story is moving forward with. But let's just talk about all of that in today's video. So hello and welcome to WhyZ, and thank you so much for joining in. Today we're going to talk about Luffy's awakening in the latest chapter of One Piece. But before that, if you're new here, then please consider subscribing to our channel, since I do weekly anime and manga related content along with a bunch of other stuff. With that being said, let's just quickly jump into the video. Now, one of the most key factors or key elements to understand in this particular chapter is that this chapter really showcases the helplessness. I mean, for a really long time, at least in the first half of this chapter, I've never really felt this kind of a helplessness which is truly significant in a war of such a huge scale, with Kaido just blasting away every single person out there, and everyone is literally in shock and disbelief. Even last time when Luffy actually fell down in the water, there's not this much amount of discourse and helplessness surrounding the entire battle, but here Kaido is literally asking for Momo to surrender so that everyone just becomes a slave and he doesn't kill them immediately. But there's just such a uneasiness. This is such huge amount of uneasiness in the actual chapter, while Luffy's apparent death is being rampaged about or is being talked about through the entire battlefield. Nami is just totally in disbelief, and I really like that it's Nami who is giving a smackdown to Kaido. She just stands up to Kaido. She's like, "You lying snake, that can't be possible." I mean, she's totally powerless in front of Kaido, but still, she's not ready to believe that the man who saved his life is just going to go down so easily. And the same even goes for, in fact, Law and Kid as well. But the entire chapter, at least the first half of the entire chapter, really showcases the uneasiness of this entire situation, and that translates very well to how Momo is almost about to give up. He's like, if Luffy's lost, then we are basically a lost cause. It's no need to just die in a battle like this. And that's when the dialogue of Yamato becomes so important, because she's the one who essentially tries to give this element of hope to Momo, and that's when Zunisha finally comes into the picture. He's like, no, it's not lost yet. I've not had this feeling in 800 long years. I can hear the drums of liberation. It's finally happening. Joy Boy is finally back. And to this, we get some very interesting pictures. And initially, basically, we get a look at Luffy, who is literally looking dead. Luffy is out cold. He's just out cold. We haven't seen Luffy like this, motionless, emotionless, and just dead in a very long time. I think the last panel, the very last time which I can remember properly at the top of my mind, is the Impel Down jail, wherein he was just drenched in the poison. That's the exact moment which I can recall at this particular moment in time. And I think that is very important, in fact, for separate discussion which I'll probably have, and that is something which I would like to call a death haki, which I believe is a very important factor in this particular equation in regards to awakening and what exactly is even a catalyst for an awakening. Because we have seen throughout this entire series that awakening in the world of Devil Fruits and in the world of One Piece basically is a very important factor, and we are still not 100% sure what leads to it, other than immense amount of distress, immense amount of pressure, and even a life or death situation. So I might do a separate video talking about all of these things, but for now we know that because of the conditions at hand, Luffy is basically pressurized to undergo his awakening. He has put himself in harm's way, and he has just broken his body time and time again. And we know that this is a very important equation or important necessity or an important factor in this equation, because pressure is a very necessary aspect in the entire process of vulcanization. And let me tell you all that I do believe for a 100% fact that Luffy's awakening has definitely got something to do with vulcanization. That is the next step for his power set. But right now the most important point here is that it's not just about power anymore. The Devil Fruit awakening of Luffy cannot be just contained or just limited to Luffy getting stronger. It has much more to do with the entire lore of One Piece as we know it, because we specifically have seen multiple different sources claiming that the Gomu Gomu no Mi, or rather its awakened form, is something that the entire world government is fearing. And what exactly could be the reason for it? Well, I do have a couple of theories, and that is mostly in regards to a theory which I had shared a while back, and that is in relation to how the Gomu Gomu no Mi might be the natural counter to the Gura Gura no Mi, or in fact the Yomi Yomi no Mi, because the series has basically set up Luffy to be the complete antithesis of Blackbeard. And in the endgame, I do believe that these three Devil Fruits are going to play a very drastic or a very important role. So essentially for Luffy's Devil Fruit awakening, I do believe that the vulcanization process is very important here, and in fact we sort of get a confirmation for it with how Luffy's straw hat is actually melting along with him. So this gives us a very clear picture that this form of his awakening is somewhat of an AoE, that is an area of effect. Now this is obviously going to remind everyone about Doflamingo and how his Ito Ito no Mi Devil Fruit basically manipulated the entire surrounding. But I think that Luffy's Devil Fruit will not only just have this, but in fact it's going to contain a couple of more features as well. The other one is obviously Katakuri's Devil Fruit, which involves the power of Mochi, so his body is naturally going to get much more powerful. But along with that, I can kind of see Oda introducing another aspect to Luffy's Devil Fruit, and that is something which we have seen in one of the movies, and that is Douglas Bullet. In the movie One Piece Stampede, we see Douglas Bullet with his Gasa Gasa no Mi, which is the combination or assimilation human. He's able to combine with inanimate objects and assimilate them organic objects, and I can see that Luffy's awakening can also sort of incorporate this particular object, because at the end of the day, we have to remember that whatever happens in the end game, the Gomu Gomu no Mi is going to have an important role in the fall of Marijoa. Now the Gura Gura no Mi is a devil fruit which is able to cause devastating earthquakes and seaquakes, so that's a given in order to basically destroy Marijoa. So another aspect to this equation would be a devil fruit which is basically able to combine with the rocks, change the area and even manipulate the area as we know it. So that is my assumption for now, and obviously this devil fruit ability is also going to incorporate some kind of a firepower. We know how vulcanization involves fire, and this will be a very good homage to Ace as well. Now, here in this particular aspect, Oda has also introduced another key element, or basically has answered one key element, and that is he has combined all the latest theories or all the latest plot points which he has introduced, say, in the last 40 chapters, and that is in regards to the Sun God Nika, the Joy Boy, and the Gomu Gomu no Mi. This also gives me a clear indication of why Shanks did what he did at the starting of the series, wherein I can very well see how Shanks knew about the Joy Boy. That is the reason why he stole the Gomu Gomu no Mi from the world government, and maybe it was his intention to actually give it to Ace, the son of his former captain. But we know how things turned out to be, and we see now today with Luffy having this particular devil fruit. And that might be one of the major reasons why he protected Luffy in such a particular manner. I mean, obviously Shanks is a good person, at least as of how we know him. But the line which really strikes off here is how Shanks tells to Whitebeard that he ventured upon the new world or new generation, and that's how he lost his arm. So I do believe that this basically gives us a confirmation about the Sun God Nika, the Gomu Gomu no Mi, and the Joy Boy's connection overall. Now, what does it mean for Luffy? Is his personality going to change? Absolutely no. Luffy is going to remain the same. He is definitely going to be the same, but he's just inheriting the will of Joy Boy in a way, and basically he's going to complete the unfulfilled promise of Joy Boy, and that is basically what is being talked about here via Zunisha, about how he's able to hear the drums of liberation. Another very important part, and this is the last part which I want to talk about in this particular video, and that is the sound effect or the laughing sound bubble which is present in the Japanese version of this chapter. The last bubble or the last speech bubble is having a Nika effect. And guess what? This exact thing we also saw it back in the original Skypiea dance moment. This particular shadow moment which everyone was connecting back when we got the reveal for the Sun God Nika via Who's Who. Guess what? This exact same speech bubble of Nika sound effect can be seen in the actual chapter as well. Oda, what a genius. What an absolute genius. So this is basically the awakening of Luffy's devil fruit. I do have a couple of more things which I want to talk about, especially in regards to what I call the quote-unquote death haki and how it is going to change the playing field. So be sure to subscribe to the channel to get notified whenever I upload that particular video. But for now, this is it for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Please give this video a thumbs up if you like it, share it with your friends, and subscribe to the channel for more. This is WhyZ. See you all on the next one. In the meantime, be sure to join the channel membership for some very cool perks and features, and join the Discord server for more.